You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels slow, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Look at it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Phoenix International Raceway. We are live here as qualifying is just getting underway. Live here for the Dynasty Racing League Pro Series. Ready to do battle here at the old Phoenix surface, the old Phoenix racetrack. I'm Liam Irving, joined up in the booth by Matt Metler. Matt, how are you doing tonight? Just give me 1 second here. Try to get a copy on Matt.
I got you loud and clear.
There we go. We got Matt. Matt, how you doing? You ready for this race?
Of course, ticket to the Valley of the Sun, old school Phoenix style. You know who the boys are in prime time tonight. These 9 individuals looking to set a blistering pace like we've already seen here in practice. Taylor Butcher Benjamin coming into the 28.64. Liam, that's some fast speeds here for this small track. You'd never guess it's less than a mile around this facility, would you?
No, I think it's right on that mile mark. I'm not sure if it's one of those ones that's just a hair over. I know tracks like Rockingham and New Hampshire, just a hair over a mile. This one might be right on the dot, though. Obviously different than the track that we're used to seeing for the NASCAR Cup Series Championship. The start-finish line is not here, not where you might be used to seeing it on your traditional Fox or NBC broadcast. We've got the start-finish line where it originally was, midway down the pit straight. So that's the front straightaway. The tri-oval's down the backstretch. They still kind of call it the dog leg, but you can't cut it like you see some of these guys do
No, you don't have that point of no return when you go off there deep into the abyss of the flats there. You don't have to worry about coming back up onto the racetrack, like you said, with this configuration. I like this version better, to be quite honest with you. I think it's better, especially for this race car, as we're watching the 29 there, PJ O'Leary out on the racetrack in that 29 Reese's Kevin Harvick throwback paint scheme.
Yeah, an absolutely beautiful car. It was one of my favorites to see that Reese's car running. Usually was running under the lights. Always looked great, but PJ O'Leary repping the Kevin Harvick scheme. JP crosses the line to run his third lap here. Oh, we've got an open qualify for this one.
Yeah, we do.
I'm not used to that. Usually we're jumping around seeing different cars run their single laps, but we've got a group qualify this time around. So everybody's on the racetrack at the same time. So far, 6 drivers out of the 9 ready to rock and rumble have taken a lap. Now you see Broby coming down into the pits. Just a couple minutes left here.
Yeah, speaking of Broby, look who's number 1 on the pylon. That 45 Milwaukee Impala is looking FAST fast, coming in at a 28.40. That's good enough for pole speed right now with 1 minute and 29 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if David Keisha, David Wright, Richard Springer get out onto the racetrack. Austin Collins, he's put down some laps. 28.99 is his quickest so far. He's out on the racetrack. Now he goes top of the board. He ties at 28.40. Let's see what it scrolls across the top. It's going to go down to the 1,000. But just how much quicker was Austin Collins than Brandon Broby? 28.397 compared to a 28.402. 5 1,000ths of a second separating pole time from the outside of the front row.
You're talking millimeters there. You know, I mean, who says race is not all about inches? Inches and feet at times. Here's a point case example. Austin Collins in the 1. I mean, takes it by the fraction of an inch there over Austin Collins.
He just put down the fastest first half of the lap. It's not common that we talk about sectors on the ovals, but the fastest first half of the lap here, sector 1. Sideways coming up off of turn number 4. That's not going to be good to improve his lap. He's going to stop it, fill it off, get some new rubber on that thing. Maybe just call it good with only 12 seconds left.
Yeah, I'll say that one is sitting P1. Brandon Broby right there in second. Who said these guys aren't electrifying, as we've already seen it? A nail-biter here in qualifying as that ticker now expires, and we get ready to rack him and stack him here for the start in the Valley of the Sun.
Yes, sir. These guys just getting the time to finish up their lap. JP has sent me a message saying it should have been single car. This is not something that they planned on doing. It was just the way that the session got set up at the beginning of the season. One of those deals that kind of got slipped through, but I'm all right with it. It kind of gives us a little bit more strategy, I guess. Get an extra lap or 2 compared to the 2 laps that you'll normally get.
Yeah, plus we got to see everyone kind of on track together versus, like you said, hunting around, looking for the next man up, if you will, on the racetrack. Not today, as that field is now set. 2 minutes on the grid ticker. As we see the pole sitter there, Austin Collins going to be alongside the 45 of Brandon Broby on the front row.
Yes, sir. You see our pole sitter right there. Let's go ahead and hear from him as well. We've got Austin Collins up in the booth with us. Austin, it's Liam and Matt up at the booth. How you doing?
Pretty good. I'm on the pole right now, so I can't complain.
Yes, sir. A blazing fast lap time by 5 1,000ths of a second. You beat that 45 to get the pole. Looks like it's going to be super competitive up front, but you think you've got the speed to get it done?
Well, I thought I did last time at Indy and blew that, so I'm going to say I don't, so hopefully I like reverse psychology or something. But, yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun out here tonight. It's real slick, so it'll be a lot of fun trying to wheel these things around here.
Oh, Matt, you got anything for Austin here before we get these boys rolling? think he's a little bit busy. But you mentioned how hot and slick this track is. How many tire stops do you think you're going to have to make throughout the course of 156 laps?
That's a great question. Probably as many times as I can, I guess. We got, what, 4 sets? So I'm expecting 4 stops probably, I guess. Probably not really, but, you know, you'd like to come down as often as you can. If we get any yellows, expect to see people coming in. So.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you joining us, and best of luck out there leading the field. Austin Collins.
Thank you, man.
You notice how he said there, if we get a yellow. I mean, these guys are a part of the Mean and Green Tour in the Gen 4 car. Very rarely do we see a caution flag, but as we heard from the pole sitter himself, if they get cautions, they will be attacking the pits aplenty for those 4 fresh Goodyears, as they are a premium on this worn-out surface.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Anytime they get the chance to come in and pit and not lose a lap, not lose a bunch of time, I can see them doing it. Right now, these guys rolling off the grid. We'll go ahead and run through your starting order real quick. 9 drivers ready to rock and rumble for 156 laps. It'll be a battle of endurance. It'll be a tough, tough race for these guys, but it's going to be a blast for us to watch. Austin Collins starts on the pole with a 28.397. 4 1/1000ths of a second off is Brandon Burby in second place. So we've got Taylor Butcher Benjamin, JP, James Pandolf in the 74, PJ O'Leary, Matt Sisler, Richard Springer, David Wright, and Dave Acacia.
Dave Acacia there out of New Jersey in that DeWalt Matt Kenseth Killer Bees paint scheme. There he is starting shotgun on the field. But hey, 9 drivers taking the green flag here tonight just because you put a hauler in here in the infield and put a car on the racetrack. Great points for everyone on the surface tonight, no matter how you slice it. As that pace car pulls off, Austin Collins going to have the button as we get ready for 156 high-octane legs and abs right around here around Phoenix. And the green flag is out underway as they turn down to the turns. 1 and 2 complex for the first time here tonight. The number 1 side by side with JP on the top side. There's a 29 JP O'Leary Eaton on the bottom.
Yeah, PJ O'Leary trying to get a spot early here at the initial start, but things getting relatively single file. These guys given a lot of room early on. JP on the outside of PJ. Don't get too confused there, but coming up off of turn number 4, it looks like PJ's going to be able to get that spot completed, get that pass done. And just as I say that, the 74 gets a nice run on entry into turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, JP Pandolf. Oh, he gets a piece of the wall.
Oh, he's sideways. He's hard into the wall.
And mayhem strikes on lap number 1. As James Pandolf pancakes the outside retaining wall after contact there with the 29 of PJ O'Leary.
Really, really tough break. Really tough way to start this race, and I don't believe these guys get fast repairs in this league. 2 laps into the race, 3 laps in, it looks like JP's day might be over.
Yeah, pardon me there. That happened on lap number 3. As you can see, JP now pulling that 74 down pit road. He's got a lot of front end damage there to that Impala. That 74 crew is going to have their work cut out for them as we remain under green flag action, I believe, out on the racetrack.
Yeah, we stayed green. We're going to take a look at this from the lap prior. Try to get an angle on what happened to JP here. Bad luck racing. Bad luck for that car today.
Yeah, the Moo crew got Duke crewed into the wall there. As he had a great run, as you mentioned on the live call. Then gets a piece of the wall there. Is going to slide down, barely kiss. The 42 with David Wright tries to correct it. And when he did, that car took off. And that is concrete. And that Moo Crew 74 is donezo right now as he is in the pits. Back to the live action. Lap number 5 going in the books. Coming through the turns 3 and 4 complex. Lap 6 being written at the line. It is all AC Austin Collins at the point.
Yeah, when we started off this season, we talked about how he was the closer. He won his first 2 races of the season by making a last lap pass. Right now, he's trying to go from start to finish, flag to flag, wire to wire, It's looking pretty good so far, but Brandon Burby has not let him get away. He's actually rocking that bottom side a little bit better through 3 and 4 than Austin Collins is on the middle.
Yeah, that
Exit speeds
45
might tell a different story, but sorry, go ahead, Matt.
No, my apologies. I was saying that 45, Brandon Broby was bad fast there in the practice session, especially after he got about 7 to 10 laps on those tires. And you can see lap 7 on the ticker, and he is closing in on the leader. Now just working just a car length and a half back of that one.
Don't look now, but Taylor Butcher Benjamin, he's got about the same gap between him and Burby as Burby does between him and the leader. And now Burby closing down just a little bit, but Taylor Butcher Benjamin's rocking 3rd place right now. He's been strong over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he has been winner, chicken dinner in that number 8 machine. He has definitely been on the feasting side of the occasion. Multiple wins racked up over the past couple of weeks, or I should say maybe the past month and a half or so. We had a little bit of a gap in there as well in that number 8 born on date Budweiser Chevrolet. And like you said, closing in out of the back of the 45 is he's got his hands full right now trying to figure out a way to get around Austin Collins in the 1.
Austin Collins is liking what he's seeing right now, seeing that the 45 is changing lines, trying to search for grip. Helps if you can take that guy's line away. He's going to have to kind of drive through you to make that pass. It's not quite one groove here, but it's not a track you can get right up next to the wall. That's a fact. It's going to be super slick when you get up to the top. And speaking of slick, big time loose there on the 45, Brandon Burby. That's going to give the 8 car a chance to get a little bit closer. Now 3/10 back, 4/10 forward to the Austin Collins machine. PJ O'Leary lurking back there in 4th, starting to close down on this lead battle a little bit too. We might find ourselves in a 4-car race here.
You took the words out of my mouth. I believe Taylor Butcher Benjamin in the 8 checked up a little bit when he seen the 45 get a little slideways there off the bottom. And you mentioned the top being treacherous. Unfortunately, asked JP all about it, is he thought he had a great run up there and it went south quick, fast, and in a hurry. And that led to the first major incident on the racetrack, even though we remain under green. Here we go. Here's Taylor Butcher Benjamin looking underneath Brandon Broby. That's going to force him to the outside, going across the start-finish line. And it's a drag race going down into 1. Look at the 8 set that car into the corner.
Yeah,
is the 45 going to...
I think he kind of let him go there. Maybe thought about a crossover in the middle of the corner. It looked like he cut down, maybe seeing if the 8 gave him the nose. Didn't happen. He stays behind him. But now Taylor Butcher Benjamin moves into 2nd place. That battle, these guys getting side by side, has allowed Austin Collins to pull out just about to a 2nd here out in front of the 8 machine. So a little bit of time lost with that battle, but Taylor Butcher Benjamin, he's got clear track in front of him to try to chase down that race leader. Brandon Burby, he's going to have a few moments to try to cool down those tires. We saw him sliding. He's going to be able to cool down those tires just a little bit and hopefully move forward once again.
Yeah, speaking about cooling the tires down, let's get some cloud cover that's going to move over the racetrack. As we now go back through the field, this is around that 7th and 8th place position. David Akeda in the 17 has it. Richard Springer in the 21 wants it. This all taking place about 8 seconds or so back from the leader of Austin Collins. There's battles going on all over the racetrack right now. You know, the few, the proud. That's what we have right here is these 9 drivers giving everything they have, just like we can count on each and every Saturday night here in prime time. It's now the 21 as Springer tries going up to the top shelf. Going to lose a little bit of ground there, see if he can make it up on corner exit. And he does. He gets a great run off going across the start-finish line, but still trying to manage that 0.3 of a second deficit. That's the advantage right now to the 17 over the 21.
Yeah, Springer's trying to get a little bit wider of an entry there, cut down through the middle of the corner, straighten up his exit better than the 17 in front of him. It's just not working out the way he wants it to right now. But maybe as these tires wear down, that could play into a factor, play into his benefit. As you see Dave Acacia getting a little bit loose, Springer got a little bit tight there coming up off of turn number 4. Both guys had to let up a little bit, but did not really change the gap much. It might have favored Acacia there in that quick little slowdown, but just as we say that, coming off of turn number 2, Richard Springer closing that gap back down. Talking about the leaders real quick. Austin Collins lead is shortening up a little bit. It's 0.7 of a second right now. We'll jump back up to that when it gets a little bit closer, but we'll give some of these guys some love towards the back in the middle of the field here. Everybody gets a top 10, which is, you know, a perk of having a shorter field like this. Like Matt said at the beginning, you brought the hauler today, you get the car on the track, you're in for a good points day. But we can't thank these guys enough for showing up. I know Thomas Harmon, he's in Gateway right now. Might have some of the other drivers in the league that are at the race. So appreciate everybody who got around here this week, and hope everybody who's not able to race is having a good weekend and enjoying the racetrack or enjoying whatever you got going on.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Gateway Motorsports Park, that's where the Cup action is this weekend. Whoa, Sizzler. Little sideways there coming through the dog leg. He's able to gather that back up. He's kind of on his own island right now. David Wright in the 42 just ahead of him. There he is right there coming out of turns number 4. You can see the Matt Sizzler coming to the picture. And then you got to go back about 2 seconds to Dave Arcadia and Richard Springer, who have had a dogfight going on there about the last 10 laps or so for that 7th place position. That's the hottest battle on the track right now.
It certainly is. These guys are out here trading blows 10th by 10th back and forth. That last time around, it went in the favor of Dave Acacia, but the 2 laps before that, Richard Springer was able to get almost within a 10th, almost within 2 car lengths of that 17. Every position matters out on the racetrack, and these guys definitely want to try to make any pass that they can. And look at the run that we're seeing from that 21 through the middle part of that corner. Gained a lot of time on the 17, Dave Acacia. It's less than 0.2 of a second right now. That's about as close as we've seen the 21.
Look at the 21.
Oh, he gets up into the wall.
You got a big piece of the wall there. That's going to back him up a little bit. It's now the 17.
Dave Acacia got loose.
You can't script this any better right now. The battle, even though they keep having their own woes, they continue to inch closer to one another. Now the 21 of Richard Springer, you can see as we go on board, looking out the back of the 17. Look how much wheel input the 21 is throwing into that race car, trying to keep it in between the walls of this racetrack. It is worn out. These tires are already hot and upset. And look at how that gap continues to just flex. It's down to 0.2 of a second. You blink an eye, and it's up over a 0.5 of a second again as we go back up front. And guess what? Cue the Jaws music. Taylor Butcher Benjamin has caught the one of Austin Collins at the front of the field. This all going on about 10 seconds ahead of Richard Springer.
Yeah, Taylor Butcher Benjamin has been able to cut down into that lead. It's less than 1/3 of a second right now as they came across the line that last time. Now about 1/4 of a second down the back straightaway. That 8 machine is fast. Be curious to see if Austin Collins maybe used a little bit too much of his stuff early on, or if he's just kind of holding on, saving what he's got and managing the gap.
Well, that's the beauty of being the leader. Once you get a nice little lead like that, you don't have to run as hard as, let's say, Taylor Butcher Benjamin in the 8 trying to run the leader down. Did that allow the 1 to save? Is this all a chess match? The other side of the battle plan, if you will, here on the racetrack that you don't necessarily get to see. That's the chess match going on the racetrack right now. It looks like Austin Collins has been able to stabilize and maintain that 0.4 of a second as we go on board now, looking out the back of the 1. And there is one of the most terrifying sights in all of Gen 4 racing and iRacing, a hungry Taylor Butcher Benjamin stalking the back of your race car.
Yeah, Taylor's been strong throughout the course of this season. We've talked about him getting a couple of wins. Right now, he's hungry for another one, though. The gap is around 0.5 second. Like you said, it has kind of stabilized a little bit after Taylor was able to get closer within that 0.3 of a second range. Kind of stabilized out. Austin Collins right now, he's running 29.74s compared to a 28.65, which was his fastest lap of the race. Ran on, I believe, lap 3. So that 29.74, they're almost getting to about 1.5 seconds, 1.5 seconds slower. Well, that's actually just a A second plus a tenth. That time around 29.65, a 29.84 for Taylor Butcher Benjamin. So the speed's starting to shift back in the hands of the one. Austin Collins out here running strong.
He certainly is running strong, and just when you think you might have a little bit something for him, he always seems to find a way to turn it up a little bit. The man on the move right now, there he is, P.J. O'Leary in that 29 ride, up one spot from where he started, now closing in on the 45 of Brandon Broby. Remember, just 0.04 of a second between the 45 and the 1 for the pole here. A little bit of damage there on that Reese's ride could be playing in a little bit of a factor right now, as you see that damage on that passenger side, right on that front nose clip there. Got it caked in a little bit, almost directly on the tire, but still holding on to that podium position there in third. But P.J. O'Leary right there looking to strike.
Trying to chase down Brandon Broby. But Matt, I want to bring up two things. In I believe 2019, maybe it was 2020 at Martinsville, Martin Truex Jr. had a little bit of something cut off in front of that right front tire. Got it a little bit more airflow, got it a little bit cooler. I don't know for sure if that's why he won the race or why he was so fast, but getting a little bit more air to the tire to help cool it down, definitely not something to shake your head about as these guys getting side by side. The other thing I was going to bring up, look at just how snappy loose these cars are getting. You see them getting loose coming up off the transition from the banking. You see them getting loose coming up off of the corners.
Oh.
Last time around, we saw P.J. O'Leary get loose coming through the dog leg right here.
Yes, P.J. O'Leary got loose. Brandon Broby simultaneously did as well. Is look at the 45 dirt track and it up top. You're right. That rear rubber is gone on these race cars, and we're only working lap 32 with no caution inside.
No caution has happened yet. The battle for the lead starting to close in once again. Taylor Butcher Benjamin within those 2/10 once again. Car length and a half getting down into turn 3.
Yeah, look at the number 8 there. Look at Taylor Butcher Benjamin, TBB hunting, trying to find a little bit of grip, something out there to get that number 8 some more drive off the corner. Watch him flare down here, going to come down just about clip that yellow line. That's the shortest array around this racetrack. Then you ever so gingerly have to try and pick up the throttle. If you can pick that up quicker than the guy in front of you, in this case Austin Collins, that's going to propel Taylor Butcher Benjamin to come up there and really challenge for the lead. As you can see just how gingerly they are working on that wheel. You can hear the throttle input being feathered as well. I don't even think they're hitting wide open right now.
Oh man, not until they're at least on the straightaway. These guys are babying the throttle. You see a little bit of a loose moment there out of the one car right up in front racing the lead. But yeah, these guys are absolutely struggling on these tires. We talked to Austin at the beginning of the show. He said we'd come in 4 times if we could. We get 4 sets, give me them all.
He wasn't.
But the caution factor is definitely not there to allow for those 4 pit stops.
No, but at some point in time, these guys are going to have to come on down pit road there. As we take a look there once again at the 21 now, Richard Springer off track. Seems to have had an issue on the racing surface. Oh, big time moment as he comes in. Oh, he gets airborne. The back of that Valvoline car is going to come skybound and immediately takes a tow to the pits. Phoenix claims 2 lives early through 35 laps of competition.
Here
James
comes
Pandolf.
TBB looking down to the inside. Sorry to cut you off there, Matt. James Pandolf and Richard Springer, unfortunate victims of the Phoenix wall here.
Oh, but like you said, here comes Taylor Butcher Benjamin. He's dialing up some pressure on the back of Austin Collins. Look at him skating that car around, coming out of turns 3 and 4. Is he going to come charging back to the start-finish line? It seems like whatever momentum Taylor's able to gain there on entry, the one of Austin Collins is able to capitalize on exit. And because of that, they are staying exactly about 0.3 of a second apart on the racetrack.
Watch this line differential going through turns 3 and 4. I've noticed these last couple times. Taylor goes in a little bit wider. He tries to cut an apex in the middle. Collins cuts down really, really low to straighten out his exit. Uses up a lot less racetrack. That time Taylor followed him, and it seemed to work in his favor. but he uses up a lot less racetrack, slides those tires a lot less, and I think over the course of a longer run, we worked 37 laps into this thing. He hasn't been able to pull a gap on Taylor Butcher Benjamin, but things like that, I think, are going to help those tires out and help that one car control this race lead.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I could not agree more. The less that you're scrubbing those tires, the less you're inside that car, hearing those tires yell at the driver, the better off you're going to be, like you said, especially over the longer run. And now just 2.4 tenths of a second, the gap between first and second. That grows a little bit on corner entry, but watch the way Taylor Butcher Benjamin's able to get off the corner. It's now
loose. Big time loose out of the one. Austin Collins there. That's going to give Taylor a shot to get down to his inside. Maybe not. Not this time around, but you can't keep having mistakes like that when you've got that number 8, Born on Date, Budweiser Chevrolet right behind you.
Oh, speaking of that, did you see drift mode kick in on the 8 car just as you were saying that? I saw his tires completely pointing the other direction, him trying to keep that Budweiser machine straight, and he does. What a save by Taylor Butcher Benjamin. That was incredible.
You can see there's a bit of steering offset with these cars. The wheels pull to the right because there's so much left side weight. These cars are designed to turn left. They've got a natural pull to the left. So that's why these wheels are pointed towards the right side when they're on the straightaways here. Also kind of why it doesn't seem like they're turning it too much, but man, you see that's probably about 30 to 45 degrees a turn. Then you go all the way back to 15 or so degrees to the right. You probably got the wheel 15 or 20 degrees to the left, and then back to 15 or 20 degrees to the right. We watch these guys go down the dog leg. They're jerking the wheel back and forth, trying to keep the tires under. Matt, I know you're trying to talk. I'm sorry about that.
No, not a problem. That was great analysis on your part, and you're right. They got some skew in the race car. Look at the 8 fighting the wheel there as it tried to hop out on him. I'm telling you, that dog leg is a very treacherous part of the racetrack. Looks can be deceiving. Not in this case of that dog leg. It looks all innocent. It's anything but. Just ask James Pandolf in the 74 all about it. Is now that lead shockingly almost back out to a half of a second again, just as Taylor Butcher Benjamin seemed like he had found the secret formula to perhaps putting a run up against Austin Collins. Seemingly does no longer has to work out there on the racetrack. He's going to have to regroup and see if he can get those tires cooled down a little bit more, as we're now working lap 42 under the blistering sun here in Phoenix.
And it's definitely hot here in the desert, in the Southwest, under the beating sun here this afternoon. Bring it up a lot. These tires are going through a lot. PJ O'Leary may have fallen out.
Oh, yeah, you're not wrong. PJ O'Leary way off pace. Now he's on pit road, I believe. Because that's going to move now the 17 of Dave Acadia into that 6th place position. And being ever so silently this race, we haven't really talked a lot about him. Matt Sizzler in that 93 Everham Dodge sits there in 4th. There he is right there, the 93. The silent assassin perhaps today, sitting right outside that podium position, up 2 spots from where he started. About a second in back of the 42 of David Wright, who currently owns that 3rd and final podium position.
Yeah, Wright's gapping Sisler just a little bit right now. It sits about 1.3. I've seen it as close as 0.8 of a second, but right now David Wright, he's got himself a strong number 42 ride, that STP Kohler Grand Prix. Reminiscent of the John Andretti car.
Yeah, that's the only Pontiac you're going to see on track right now in prime time here tonight. The only Dodge in the field belonging to Matt Sizzler, who we just were featuring there a moment ago. David Wright currently in that 3rd and final podium position right now. Couple seconds back from Taylor Butcher Benjamin and Austin Collins, as that's been the story the past 15 laps or so. Going back to the front, there he is, Austin Collins, now over 0.7 of a second. And perhaps you were onto something there when you were talking about those tires sliding, especially coming out of turns 3 and 4. Now it seems to be favoring Austin Collins as he's able to pull a little bit of a gap on the 8.
Yeah, right now he's approaching 1 second of a lead. He's really kind of come on fire over the course of these last 5 laps. He's managed these tires, managing this gap. See him with a little bit of a wiggle there coming up off of turn 2. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, it seems like he's fallen off a little bit as we approach 50 laps complete here in this race. James Pendle, we can confirm, is out of the race. Still waiting on Richard Springer to see if he can get some of that damage fixed to get back out onto the racetrack. He might be able to gain a point, or gain a position rather, on PJ O'Leary, unless O'Leary's able to get back into the session here.
Yeah, hopefully some of these drivers are able to overcome adversity here that's plagued them early on in this race. Not even lap 50 officially in the books just yet. And just as we start to say Austin Collins is pulling away, here comes Taylor Butcher Benjamin chipping back into the deficit again. Now about 0.8 of a second is just a handful of laps ago. It was just about a second. There's the 8 last time by. Austin Collins at 29.98 to Taylor Butcher Benjamin's 29.95. Let's check the speeds again here at the line this time as we see him coming through the turns 3 and 4 complex. The 8 kind of utilizing that late apex, as you mentioned before. Here comes the one off of 4 at the start and finish line. Austin Collins, a 29.92 to Taylor Butcher Benjamin's 29.99. So Austin Collins faster that lap once again.
Yeah, these guys are trading blows, kind of like we saw Richard Springer and Dave Acacia doing early on. But instead of a 10th here and there, it's a 100th here and there. Last time around, like Matt said, it was 700ths in the favor of Austin Collins. The lap before that, it was 3 in the favor of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. This time around, it looks like Collins is going to be a little bit quicker as they come across the line by about 1/10 of a second here. So you see the last lap time scrolling across the top of the screen here. Austin Collins, the only driver in the 29s at the current time. Everybody else has fallen off past the 30-second mark.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes to show you how good the competition is in this field. And we're talking tenths here. Oh, you look at the 93 on pit road. Going to be the first of the cars in the lead lap to take it pit side. There's Richard Springer, who had some damage coming back onto the racing surface as well. Matt Scissor going to lock it down in the box. His crew's going to go over the wall. For Dr. Feelgood's, a.k.a. Goodyear Eagles, 2 Kansas Sunoco Racing Fuel. Now Austin Collins has to make sure he doesn't get caught out there too long, as we see just what type of a difference in speed on the racetrack Ford Dr. Feelgoods has over these worn out, as Cliff would say, sloppy Goodyears. As Austin Collins goes by again, he's going to have
Taylor Butcher Benjamin into the pits. He's going to try the undercut on Austin Collins. And Matt, I do just want to, now this is where Austin Collins has to worry. Taylor Butcher Benjamin is less than a second behind him. When we're talking about a guy like Matt Sisler, he was 13 seconds behind. So he could afford to let him run a couple extra laps on fresh tires, maybe get that advantage at the end. He cannot afford to with Taylor Butcher Benjamin coming in, and Austin Collins is coming in right now.
Yeah, just like you said, Austin Collins responds. He's going to bring that number 1 TRD machine down pit road. Is the 8. He's going to be leaving the box as the 45 slides in his for service on his race car.
It's a long pit road at a very slow 45. They can get up to 50 technically, but we'll see. Austin Collins still is the race leader. Dave Acacia is now going to acquire the race lead, having stayed out, not made a pit stop yet. Taylor Butcher Benjamin coming across the front straightaway now, comes across the line. Austin Collins coming off of the pit lane now. Where are these guys going to blend? Collins isn't going to have the run or the speed, but he's going to have enough space to get out in front of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. We'll see if these cold tires do anything for Collins here in the first turn, but these guys are basically right where they left off.
However, identical.
Matt Sisler was able to use the undercut to his advantage and get around David Wright and Brandon Burby.
Yeah, Matt Sizzler now up to that 4th place position. David Cadia, he's your leader, but he's still going to have to pit. He's been out there, it seems like forever, through 55 laps of competition. There he is in the Matt Kenseth the DeWalt Ford throwback paint scheme. He always comes down pit road. Make sure you get that Taurus down to speed at the commitment code to a very sluggish 45 miles an hour. That's going to cycle Austin Collins back to the lead and back to the game on with Taylor Butcher Benjamin in hot pursuit. I mean, literally pick it up right where they left off. You hit the nail right on the head.
Last time around, Austin Collins tied his quickest lap of the race with a 28.65. Taylor Butcher Benjamin ran a 28.81. Be interesting to see if he's going to try to save those tires a little bit more for the later portion of the run, or if he's going to... Wow, a 28.57 for Austin Collins. 28.64 for Taylor Butcher Benjamin. That's a personal best for him, but that's the first time we've seen anybody break into the 28.5s all weekend.
Yeah, 28.57. That is haul in the mail around this racetrack. Austin Collins with the fastest lap of the race. Closest person in that zip code. In second place, Taylor Butcher Benjamin at a 28.64. And Austin Collins does it again, now at 28.5 flat.
28.497 down to the 1,000. He is on rails right now. Taylor Butcher Benjamin is not slouching, though. He's putting down consistent laps. He put down another 28.64 that last time around. Actually improved by a couple of thousandth on his lap previous.
Yeah, maybe Taylor's hoping here Austin's going to go a little too hard. Maybe the 8 can save a little bit more this run. Now working lap 59. Lap 60 here as the one comes across the start-finish line next time by. And that gap now just over a second. Matt Sizzler climbs the leaderboard now up to third, but David Wright all over the back of him in that 42.
Yeah, David Wright hit it 2 laps after Matt Sizzler. Might be a little bit quicker with the tires. Right now he's going to dive it in there. Look at this, side by side. Almost door banging through the middle of the corner. Here comes David Wright down on the bottom, though.
Hold on to it.
Super close, super loose for both of these guys coming up off of turn 4. David Wright going to try it once again, getting down into turns 1 and 2, but he doesn't quite have enough. This time around, it's going to be Matt Sizzler in third, David Wright in fourth, and then Brandon Borby just lurking behind these guys by just over half a second. As once again, here comes the 42, diving it in.
Oh, he really dove it at the corner. Look at Matt Sizzler taking the high line, the faster way around. He gets that momentum on the top shelf, able to pull back out in front of the 42 with David Wright in that, like I said, that 42 Pontiac. And here comes the 45 of Brandon Broby. He's coming into the mix now as the 93 and the 42 are in an all-out dogfight. That's allowing Brandon Broby to throw his hat in the ring.
3 different drivers, 3 different lines here. It actually seems like Broby's trying to follow in Sizzler's tire tracks. Gets a little bit better of a run coming up off of turn 4, though. We'll see if he can make a run on David Wright. Has to check up, get out of the brakes really hard there to avoid getting into the back of the 42 on entry. I'm not sure if he anticipated where the 42 was going to get off of the gas and start slowing down for the corner. But good heads-up driving by Brandon Borby in the 45, making sure that the 45 crew doesn't have to use a lot of those Milwaukee tools now.
Yeah, the 45 doing a good job of staying alive off the back of the 42 of David Wright. It is a oh, look at the drive in. The 45 has to jump on the binders once again really hard. Is the 42 and David Wright really backing those corners up? That's really having to keep the 45 of Broby honest on those corners.
Yeah, it really is. The 42 is kind of in the worst spot right now because he knows, or he feels at least, he's quicker than the 93 in front of him, but he can't afford to attack and not have it work because that 45 is ready to pounce.
Yeah, the 45 is right there. Should the 42 go on the offensive and unable to execute, that can go in the opposite direction for the 42 and David Wright and allow the 45 of Broby to get past him. Is now they're going to mix it up. The 45's going to go way top shelf. Not going to be able to get the run there I think he was hoping for, but here he comes back hard. Look at the body weaving and weaving on that 45 Milwaukee ride. Is now the 42. He's going to be able to pull the trigger side by side with Sizzler. That's going to shoot him to the top side. There's the 45 of Brandon Broby. It's a three-legged horse race for second, or for third.
Broby got loose. They're still side by side for third place right now. Broby trying to figure out which one to follow. Can David Wright get clear? Or is Matt Sisler going to have the run coming up off of turn number 4? Almost clear for the 42. Not quite. Sisler's still there, but I don't think he can hang on another corner. He's
this
trying.
is a barn burner.
He's really trying to stick it up there. Maybe a little bit of contact coming up off of turn 2. Through the dog leg, David Wright's going to be able to clear Matt Sisler. And now Brandon Broby drifting it into turn 3, going to try to follow through.
Yeah, you're right. Pulling the words of Darrell Waltrip, throwing a drifter there into turn 3, coming out of 4. It's a drag race now between Sisler and Broby. They're literally neck and neck, bombing it down into turn 1. The 93 of Sisler making that outside groove work. The 45 is going to slide up, having to reel the race car in. He can get off the gas. That's going to allow the 93 to grab some breathing room. Is now he goes back onto the attack, seeing if he can get back to position from the 42 with David Wright. Is the 45 of Broby now swarming all over Matt Sisler in that Dodge out there on that racetrack.
Yeah, David Wright able to make that pass, and now the battle for 4th is continuing on with Broby trying to figure out a way around that 93. It doesn't seem like the entry into turn 1 is as much of a difference between these two as much as it was between the 42 and 45, David Wright and Brandon Broby. But that 45 is super stout on entry into the corner. He can keep these exits solid and get his nose in. I think he's got a good shot at passing Matt Sisler in the next lap or two. Now he goes down to the inside. He's going to try to shove his nose in there.
He goes to pull the trigger. He pulls up to the corner. Oh,
Not
look at the
quite
drive
enough.
off of the 93. Oh, look
Big
at the sideways
slide.
action.
Man, I feel like Clint Boyer. There's just so much happening right here. I'm just yelling out 2 words every time I see something. We got big slide. We got good move. We got, there he goes. Everything's happening here in this battle for 3rd place, 4th place, and 5th place. As now they start to get a little bit separation. Brandon Broby dives it in once again. Did not have the 3 and 4 that he wanted to chase down that 93 car.
Well, all that battling's happening. That's allowing the 42 of David Wright to get a little bit of breathing room over the 93 of Matt Sisler. And we say it time and time again, but it cannot be more true on the racetrack. Catching him is one thing, passing him is another. I mean, look how many laps it took David Wright to set up that pass on the 93 of Matt Sisler. You have to imagine that used a little bit of that tire supply up on those 4 good years on those race cars. Now Matt Sisler is looking to do the same thing on Brandon Broby. He's caught him. Clearly he's faster. Just finding a way around that race car is a completely different story. As you can see him searching high, low. He's looking in the middle, anywhere he possibly can to find some extra grip. Is now perhaps that 45 is fading just a little bit off the back of the 93.
Well, and as we talk about this battle, we're going to go ahead and jump forward 20 whole seconds from 3rd place to 2nd place, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who these last couple of laps, up until this past lap, the 3 out of the last 4 laps, Taylor Butcher Benjamin has been quicker than your race leader. It was over a second last time we were looking at these two. Now it's about 0.8 of a second. So that mid to late run speed starting to show once again for TBB in that number 8. Austin Collins might be looking in his mirror, might be getting a little bit worried, but this battle for 4th is starting to heat up. Look at how sideways the 45 is. He's in the grass. Big
What a
save.
Incredible save by Brandon Broby as he took it over the rumble strips right into the turf and is able to put it right back out on the racetrack. Incredible.
Let's get another look at that. Getting into the dog leg, just didn't quite have the tires underneath him entirely coming up off of turn 2. Pointed it down into the dog leg, and those rear tires said, I'm going further than you want me to.
Pretty much. As he had the Milwaukee Tools moment of the race so far in that 45 ride, as they were probably making sure those batteries were charged on pit road. Didn't have to use them as we go back to the point with Austin Collins enjoying literally a 1 second advantage right now over the 8 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who resides in second.
Brandon Burby, or not Matt Sisler rather, starting to kind of turn the tides a little bit towards David Wright. Last time around, just a couple hundredths quicker.
Yeah, Matt probably needed a minute to catch his breath there as he was in a dogfight, it seemed, for about 20 laps. He's going to be working the bottom of the racetrack as we go back to the point again, the one, that Toyota-powered machine of Austin Collins. Look at that gap just explode now. 1 minute or 1 second, 1.20 seconds over the 8 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Every time it seems like the 8 starts to reel him in, Austin Collins turns a little bit more of that wick up in the 1 and able to stretch it back out, it seems.
Well, we've got 77 laps complete here. We're going to go ahead and step away for just a moment, go side by side, and be right back with some more fantastic action here for Phoenix. Back live here, this battle heating up once again. Brandon Burby, Matt Sisler. We saw Burby with an amazing save, a huge slide down the back straightaway. And now we're looking at Austin Collins, who is going to start catching up to some lap traffic here. That's the 21 Richard Springer. He's running 7th place right now, 21 laps down. Sorry, rather, he's 20 laps down, about to go 21. He was able to get around PJ O'Leary, who has not returned to the racetrack, unfortunately. I mean, good deal for Richard Springer, bad deal for the 29 of PJ O'Leary. Reese's machine was looking pretty stout.
Yeah, it certainly was there until That car decided it did not want to stay underneath him anymore, and because of that, we have 2 retirees to speak of. First and foremost, the 74 of James Pandolf, the head chief bottle washer of the league, has to retire that 74 ride early. JP O'Leary unfortunately follows suit after having a strong early running. That's going to leave the next car on the lead lap, or about to go a lap down, going to be the 21 of Richard Springer. And there's the 45 of Brandon Broby, the ace of the race so far, with that miraculous save he had through the grass and all, and is somehow still able to put some pressure on the back of Matt Sisler in that 93 ride. The only Everham Dodge in the field, and that Milwaukee Tools, in spite of having that incident on the racetrack, that
big slide there.
Still big slide. Slideways once again for Broby.
Yeah, he's really done a great job of recovering after that slide. He's sitting in 5th place right now. He's chased down Matt Sisler after being almost 2 seconds behind him after getting everything gathered back together. But it kind of seems like once he gets to this 2-3-10th range, just can't quite get to the inside of Matt Sisler. We saw this happen when David Wright was racing with these guys as well. Robbie just struggles to get close enough to jump on it and make the pass. We'll see if he can get it done this time, though, as he dives down to the inside of Matt Sisler.
Now he's down to the inside, working to get on the quarter, and it looks like these cars just get a ton of dump truck in them, a.k.a. they start pushing really bad until you feed so much wheel in it, Liam, and then what happens, it snaps loose on you. And that kind of looks like what happened to the 45 there, is look at how much real estate now he loses to the 93 of Sisler, almost a half second just from trying to go up there and execute a pass, having to catch the race car, and now he has to mount an entire all-new offensive to see if he can pilot his way around that 93.
You know what, that 45 is one of the most exciting guys to watch right now, just with how much he's wiggling. That car is back and forth. He's sawing on the wheel. Saw how close he was able to get to Matt Sisler. He was 2/10 off of him, down on the inside, about ready to make that move. But now the gap has increased to almost a second once again.
Yeah, that's really a big part of this race, is just, that whole theory of catching him's one thing, passing him's another. As we've seen that with David Wright and Matt Sisler, now more recently the 45 of Broby and Matt Sisler as well. And here he is once again working in about that half-second offset real estate over the 93 of, deficit to the 93 of Matt Sisler, who currently owns that 4th place position. Last time by, the 93 of Matt Sisler came in at a 30-12. Brandon Broby faster at a 30-08. We're talking hundreds here. You go on board with Matt Sisler, looking out the 93 Everham powered
Oh,
Dodge.
he had a bad entry there. Slides wide there on entry. You could hear the tires slipping and sliding there.
Those tires were screaming at the pilot of that. Oh, look at Broby, big time slip as well. These guys are just fighting these race cars every single inch of this 1 mile racetrack. And here comes David Wright. More trouble to
Richard
David
Springer,
Wright
rather.
race car. Or I'm sorry, David Wright, thank you. Richard Springer, thank you, buddy. More trouble, looks like there's some new damage on that Valvoline 21. See him there pull it into his pit stall once again. Here is all business as usual for the one of Austin Collins up front. Also continues to be the fastest car on the racetrack, the 29.95, but hot on his heels once again, Taylor Butcher Benjamin at a 29.97. The main difference this go round, you're talking almost 3 seconds versus 3/10 of a second, how it was before the first green flag pit stop sequence. That seems to have now commenced over 45 plus laps ago now, as we're working lap 95 out there on the racing surface.
And we're approaching 60 laps to go, which means we're going to be getting pretty close to that final round of pit stops. These guys came in just after lap 50, so I'd imagine they'll go to about 105 before they start that second window, start up the money stop.
All right, Liam, I'm going to make you put your crew chief hat on for a minute here, if you don't mind. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, you're sitting, for all intents and purposes, almost 3 seconds off the elite pace of the one of Austin Collins. What can you do here with your driver here of the 8 if this remains green to go up there and challenge for the win? What are a couple different options you have to work with right now for a strategy?
Well, I'm a big fan of the undercut. I don't know how well it's going to work at a track like this, where the track is so abrasive on these tires. But you can try to get Taylor Butcher Benjamin in, get him out on fresh tires a little bit earlier than Austin Collins, gain some of the time that way. You can try to coach your driver to... Yeah, or the other side. Stay out a little bit longer so you've got fresher tires to run them down at the end. The only problem with that is that you're 3 seconds back now, and the longer you stay out, you're losing over a second a lap.
Right, so that window is really here and now is really what you're getting at as we continue to watch Austin Collins. He just runs such a clean line around this racetrack, even with 60 plus laps of competition on those General tires on that race car. You can see he's still firmly planted right on that yellow line coming off of the turn number 4. Now he fires down into turns 1 and 2. Just look how smooth and stable that one car is. That's just incredible to me.
Yeah, he's doing an absolutely phenomenal job. We'll go ahead and ride on board with him for a little bit. You can see just how smooth he is on the wheel. This right in front of him, he's got the best seat in the house for that Brandon Broby-Matt Sisler battle we were talking about a couple of laps ago. The 99th lap about to be completed, starting lap 100 here at Phoenix.
Which means only 56 laps remaining in the scheduled distance here from Phoenix, the Valley of the Sun. You see all RVs parked up on the hill. That used to be one of the best spots back in the day. Heck, even where those picnic tables are set up out there on the side of the hill, you didn't even have to have a ticket for that seat in the house. This track completely reconfigured now, but that's how it was just a few short years ago. As we continue to ride on board with Austin Collins as he continues to lurk and stalk the back of the 45 machine of Brandon Broby, and I believe that's basically to put him one lap down should this remain under green flag conditions out there on the racetrack and the one not pit.
Yeah, that would be putting the 5th place car one lap down. That just goes to show how fast this Austin Collins machine has been all day. Obviously no cautions here, but to be able to put the top 5 a lap down, I don't care if it's a 10-car race, a 20-car race, a 40-car race. The top 5 are the 5 fastest drivers out there, stating the obvious there. But it is a phenomenal feat to be able to get up there and challenge those guys, put them a lap down when they're racing for a top 5.
You know, manufacturer change and all in the one. He rocked that Martin Truex Jr. DEI throwback scheme for a long part of the season here, which is over to Toyota. You got a Corolla he's piloting here today, and he has not looked back. That car is just as fast as it's been with the Chevy nameplate as it's been with the a Toyota nameplate. And now look at him really starting to cut in to the difference between himself and that 45 of Brandon Broby, fighting tooth and nail right now, trying to stay on this lead lap. As the Austin Collins now pulls within a car length as they fire down off into 1.
Went a little bit wider in turn 1 than he maybe wanted to. Broby sideways almost every corner. That car is really not handling the way he wants. He's just going to let Austin Collins get through, try to not mess up his lap, try to not mess up his race. However, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, he's caught him a little bit. It's 2.3 now. It was up almost at 3 seconds. I think Austin Collins is definitely the quicker car, but Taylor Butcher Benjamin is able to capitalize when Austin Collins doesn't hit his marks, and that's really what we're seeing cut into this gap right now.
Yeah, just as you said that, now it stretches back out to over 2.3 seconds out there on the racetrack. That just goes to show you another aspect of being the leader. versus the second place cars. How do you catch lap traffic? As David Wright's now on pit road in the 42.
He's the first. Lap 105. It'll be 52 laps to go for the race leader right now.
Matt Sizzler, the next car on the bounty list of that number 1 of Brandon Broby. You can see him in the same screen as Matt Sizzler, about 2.5 to 3 car lengths ahead of the 1 of Austin Collins. The 93 still on the lead lap, but for how much longer? We've seen the 42 of David Wright come down pit road. Is that going to spare Matt Sizzler, or is Austin Collins going to claim another life here on the lead lap? As we see the 42 now coming back up into traffic, we should be able to maintain over the 1 of Austin Collins, as that 42 is on sticker General tires. He's going to split the gap now, or split the difference between himself. And here comes Matt Sizzler down to pit road.
Yeah, he's going to try an undercut here on Austin Collins to keep himself on the lead lap. We'll see how that works for the 93 Matt Sizzler. The top 2 are the only drivers on the lead lap right now. They have not come into the pits. David Wright, Brandon Burby, Matt Sizzler, they've all made their final pit stop. Austin Collins sounded like he was slowing to go through, come into the pits this time, but doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, I thought he was pitting that time as well, but perhaps maybe he missed it, or perhaps he decided to stay out a couple more laps. He's playing the waiting game here with Taylor Butcher Benjamin. You betcha Taylor Butcher Benjamin is keeping his eye on every single move that Austin Collins is making right now in that number 1 machine out there on the racetrack as he continues to lead. Taylor Butcher Benjamin lurks in second, but is if that 8 car is to pull down pit road, Austin Collins is going to be prepared to get down the racetrack quick, fast, and in a hurry, because the last thing he wants to do right now is give up the lead due to an undercut by the 8. We know that man is capable of doing it. We've seen him do it time and time again this year. But right now, that deficit is the biggest negative factor in the corner of the 8, is it is still 2.4 seconds in advantage to the 1 of Austin Collins.
And now the top 2 are the only ones who have not made the final pit stop. Like you said, it's a chess match. Whoever comes in, the next guy is going to come in the next lap. If Taylor Butcher Benjamin comes in, Austin Collins is coming in the lap after. And if Austin Collins comes in, Taylor's going to just follow him right into the pits.
Exactly. I mean, if Austin Collins had it his way, he probably wouldn't want to pit at all, as he still continues to be, well, not that time by Austin Collins ran a 29.95 to Taylor Butcher Benjamin's 29.91. So let's see if that holds true for his second lap here as we come across the line here once again. Gonna have to wait just a couple more seconds here for them to come across the line, the start and finish line. With that being said, here comes the fresh tires of Matt Sizzler and company, as he has once again a bumper full of the 45 of that Milwaukee Tool Chevrolet.
Yeah, both of these guys on fresh tires. It'll be interesting to see how this battle goes. Taylor Butcher Benjamin's getting out of the way, letting these guys kind of get around him. That's going to cost him a bunch of time here compared to Austin Collins. Almost half a second lost just letting these guys go. He's got to hope that these guys get to Austin Collins before the top 2 come into the pits, so that they can try to take away some of that time that he just lost.
Yeah, if you're Austin Collins, you'd be thinking that crew chief's on the radio screaming to him, pit now, pit now. But that does not seem to be the case. Is now the 45 and the 93 are picking up right where they left off on fresh tires. There's the 1. He is your leader, still out there on those old General tires. And here comes Matt Sizzler as he is flying, trying to fend off the 45 of Broby. Here we go. Let's see if that half a second comes back now, as Matt Sizzler's going to peek to the inside here. There he goes. He's going to dive bomb it in the corner. There goes the 1 of Austin Collins up top, and following through the needle in the thread. Here comes the 45 of Broby.
Taylor wasn't able to gain much of that time back. It still sits at 2.8. These guys are coming to 40 laps to go, though. It's wild how long these guys have stayed out on their tires. Over 63 laps when they ran
Incredible.
53 on the first run.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it just, I mean, look at how good that one gets around this racetrack on, you said, north of 60 laps on the tires. If that fuel cell wouldn't run dry before the checkered flag flew, you wouldn't probably see that one come down pit road. That's how good that one is handling right now for Austin Collins. But as the laps continue to tick on, I mean, they're starting to run almost the same lap times now between
Trailer's
Austin Collins. He's in. He's on pit road, down to 45 miles an hour. The money stop. Can't have any mistakes. Can't hold anything back now. Does Austin Collins respond? Coming to pit road this time by. You're going to have to see here as he's coming down. Here he comes. He's going to be coming in this time. What an entrance to pit road by the one of Austin Collins. Man, that car does not flinch. He does not miss an inch. That guy, that pilot of Austin Collins, that race car driver, so good. As now Butcher Benjamin is away, leaving a trail of burning rubber as he exits the pits. Don't want to be too fast exiting. Look at him coming up through the gearbox. He is on it right now, trying to make up precious time to the one of Austin Collins, who is still on pit road.
To see how this plays out here. Butcher Benjamin across the line now. Collins drops the jack. Collins is going to hold on to the lead, but by how much?
Here comes Butcher in the 8. He is there. It is now under 2 seconds. And that's where the gap is going to stay. Austin Collins, another successful mastery of pit road execution, 4 tires in fuel, and is able to outbest the 1 lap newer tires on the 8 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. That gap starting to grow back the other way now as Austin Collins all but seems to have this race run as we are now approaching lap 120. This time by at the start-finish line as we go through the turns 3 and 4 complex one more time, coming off of 4. Lap 120 now being written in the books.
Fast lap of the race, 28:36 for Austin Collins. Holy cow, what a lap.
That is just that car has got to be turning almost 10,000 RPM as he's coming into 3 and 4. I mean, that is flying. A 28:36. Are you kidding me?
Let's see if he can match it or improve on this second lap. Sector 1 was quick. Sector 2, not quite as quick. Gonna have a 28:52 there. 28:50 for Taylor Butcher Benjamin. That's his personal best of the race. But man, that one car has a lot of speed. That's the first time we've seen anybody get into the 30s all weekend, and he couldn't have found a better time to do so with 36 coming to 35 laps to go.
Yeah, he finds the full military afterburner switch in the 1 as he looks like Top Gun in that F-14 Tomcat, buzzing the tower every time he goes by the start-finish line. Every time this guy comes by, it just seems like he was there just moments ago. But hey, when you're running 28:50s out there, that doesn't take much time to go out there and complete a lap here at Phoenix. And it's look at him drifting it around 3 and 4, getting all the good out of that race car. And why not? Lap 123 being written in the books right now. Austin Collins is on full send. In the words of Cletus McFarland, he is putting on a full-blown ripper out here in Phoenix as the 45 of Brandon Broby now has found the back of Matt Sisler, looking for the 3rd installment of this battle.
Yes, sir. These guys cannot get away from each other. They've been racing each other, it seems like, for the last 124 laps. They have not been able to get away from each other's bumpers. Maybe a second of separation at some point during this race. I think 2 seconds is the most I've seen him apart after Roby got loose, but he chased him back down quickly. Now these guys both on fresh tires, giving it one last go to try to take away 4th place.
One thing Matt Sisler has been doing really well throughout the course of this race is making that Gen 4 race car as wide as a school bus, it seems. as it has made it literally impossible for Brandon Broby to find a way around that race car, especially when he's clearly been faster at times, and making him search high, low, is just scrubbing all the good off of those tires on that race car. As we've seen it now once again here, he's clearly faster than Sizzler, but Matt is making that car as wide as a dump truck, it seems, and the 45 can...
Oh!
I think he gave him a shot getting into the corner. What is saved by Sizzler?
I don't know if they hit, but if they didn't, man, that was super close. He just about had him jacked up and backed into the fence there going into one. That was a big-time speed discrepancy. 93 let off the gas quite a bit earlier than the 45 expected. 45's had a really deep entry into turns 1 and 2 all night.
He has been sending it into 1 and 2. You're absolutely right. Where the 93 of Sizzler's kind of been taking it nice and easy. Really attacking 3 and 4, though.
Yeah, he really has been attacking 3 and 4. Well, we're going to go ahead and step to another quick break. You won't miss a moment of this battle. We'll keep it side by side, but we got to step away just momentarily. We'll be right back. Back in action where you haven't missed a thing. These guys still duking it out. Austin Collins was able to get around him. Taylor Butcher Benjamin lurking in the shadows of 20-lap pressure tires. Brandon Burby starting to slide at big time there, coming up off of turn number 4. Still unable to get the pass done on Matt Sisler. We know Matt Sisler is a formidable competitor. He's actually just won the championship in the Midday Racing League. That season wrapped up yesterday. And I think he had the championship locked up. Basically just had to start the race. So he's a champion in another league. Not going to be the easiest guy to get around for Brandon Burby. So you see Taylor Butcher Benjamin get around that 45. Not for position. Butcher Benjamin in second place. 2.3 seconds behind the race leader. That's Austin Collins. Still Hasn't missed a beat from the drop of the green flag. The only times he hasn't led this race were under pit stops where David Case stayed out a little bit longer. Other than that, it has been the Austin Collins show, and he has driven away. You see Taylor Butcher-Benjamin getting to the inside of Matt Sisler. Once again, that's not for position. Sisler sits in 4th place. 1 lap down. Sisler scraping the wall down the front straightaway. That's going to slow him down considerably. Brorby almost had the chance to get down to the inside, but Sisler closes that door real quick and just in time.
Yeah, or if that's not exciting enough, you could always dial up Brandon Broby and go on the slide and ride. That's what the 45 has been out there doing, trying to pilot his way around that 93, that school bus. It's like the magic school bus from back in the day. You just can't find a way to get around this thing. And just as I say that, here comes Brandon Broby down on the inside. He tries to pull ahead of that 93, but he gets a heck of a run on the outside.
And look at how loose he gets on that transition. It's almost like a little hill coming up off of turn 2. Once that banking goes away and he comes over that hill, the tires just have no grip on the rear end. That's where he's getting really sideways coming up off of 2. Not so much coming up off of turn 4, but turn 2 is really killing those rear tires. Little bit in the middle of 3 and 4 for the 45. See him slide in there, but watch this. He's going to come up over this bump. Actually did a really good job of keeping the wheels under him there. And sideways there, has to check up and correct across the dog leg there. And now you can see just how sideways the 93 in front of him is getting. This is that mid spot in 3 and 4 I was talking about. He's sideways, playing with the throttle. You can hear him bouncing it. Bop, 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 bop.
Whistler in the wall again. Now that 45's really going to have a run in there. Can he master the bumps? If he goes up top, he does. Can he get the run? He can't. The 93 shats and gats off the bottom. As we go on board, look at all this wheel input being thrown into the race car. Now, as you mentioned earlier, there's about 15 degrees of, maybe about 10 degrees of offset in that steering wheel from its natural center. As you watch him go straight down here across the start-finish line, you can see that negative input in on the steering wheel. But watch him bomb it down into the corner. This is where most...
Oh, big sideways, big slide! Big save, and Sisler with a big slide just in front of him. 17 laps to go for your race leader, Austin Collins. The gap is still 2.4. That hasn't changed since we last talked about it. This position for 4th and 5th hasn't changed, but man, it has been insane to watch these guys do battle. It's like they're dogfighting out there. It's almost like they're the only two on the track that they care about. Brandon Brorby just wants to get around that 93 and prove that he has been quicker this whole time. Matt Sisler wants to keep that 45 back there and say, hey, I'm good at what I do too.
He is. He's darn good at being Ryan Newman, and that's exactly who he looks like out there on the racetrack. As he has given Brandon Brorby the biggest case of the fits and served up on anyone Phoenix has, it seems, throughout the over course of this entire weekend, is he still finds himself packed behind that Everham Dodge.
Trying to go in a little bit wider, cut a little bit lower, get a run coming up off the corner. Straight off of the exit there, doesn't slide it too much. He stays within a car length or two, and it seems like his dog leg was pretty smooth there compared to Matt Sisler. 1 car length of separation, getting down into 3 and 4. There's 15 laps to go, coming to 14 for your race leader.
Yeah, just look how tight Brandon Brorby gets when he gets into this position, about a half a car length off the back of Matt Sisler. He tries to bring it up north. There's no bite for the rear tires. Really has to chase that race car to get it underneath him again. If he tries to undercut him on the dog leg, as you see right there, big wiggle out of the 45. That gives the advantage back to the 93, setting up in the 3-4 complex. And Brandon Brorby is right back to where he started, lap after lap, as he's sideways, just about going across the start-finish line.
Well, we've got a moment. Richard Springer had himself another excursion. We'll take a quick look at that before we jump back live to this battle. So it seems like he smacked the wall coming up off of the corner and just kind of pulled it off the track. Decided that maybe the team told him the damage was a little bit too much. We're not going to be able to get anything else out of the race. Tough day for Richard Springer, but he stuck it out, completed 91 laps, got around PJ O'Leary by sticking it out. So
That's
Not
good for
all was
Kevin.
lost, and it just goes to show why it's important to try to get out and complete every lap that you can, because you never know who's going to have problems and what positions you can gain through attrition.
Well, that's a great point, because look indeed what's happened out there.
Oh, Matt Sisler slides way wide. Sorry to interrupt you there, Matt.
No, that's okay. Sizzler catches a piece of the wall, and Brandon Broby, with problems of his own, he still can't find his way around the bus.
He's looking to the inside, but he's not comfortable diving it in like he has been all race. We've got 11 laps to go. It's 2.1 is the gap up front. It would have to be about 2/10 in the favor of Taylor Butcher Benjamin every single lap if he's going to chase down Austin Collins. It's not impossible, but it's going to be tough given the speed that one machine has shown all weekend. Big time wiggle out of Brandon Broby there. Got on the apron. The car did not like that transition, and he almost had it cranked all the way up to the wall there. Great job keeping it straight, not overcorrecting that. He's going to lose some of that time he's been chasing down.
Yeah, I'm going to take a play out of Maverick here. He almost had that 45 in a flat spin. Another miraculous recovery in that 45. But, we haven't talked about it yet. That track temperature, even getting later into the afternoon time here in the sim, it is 105 degrees on that asphalt. Over the century mark. You want to know why these cars are doing the jig? They are wiggling and getting it. In the words of Will Smith from back in the day, it's because of that blistering track temperature being 105 and 900 horsepower underneath the hood of these race cars. That is a recipe for letting it hang out all over this 1 mile racetrack.
Matt, I am genuinely curious. When did Will Smith say anything about 105 degree track temp?
Not about the track temp, he did. But getting jiggy with it, he absolutely.
Oh, getting jiggy with it. Okay. Yeah, I missed that reference there. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, these guys are definitely getting jiggy with it behind the wheel. Sawing it back and forth. David Wright about to go a lap down here. He's running in third place. Less than 10 laps to go for these guys. We've got 7 laps to go right now. And Austin Collins is looking to put the third place driver 1 lap down.
Yeah, that Pontiac is on full defensive mode, trying to finish this race on the lead lap. I just don't think there's still too much time left on the
Broby to
table.
the top side of Sisler.
No one goes to the outside. That's what they said in Days of Thunder. And the 93 still going to come up and block the 45.
Here comes Broby down to the inside with the crossover.
Here he comes.
He's got the momentum down the back straightaway. If he can pull this slider, he can dive it in deep. Sisler stays strong on the top side. Who can get to the gas first? Broby's got to let off a little bit to avoid hitting Sisler. And once again, Sisler holds on. Not by much, though. It's still half a car length getting down into turn 3 this time. Sisler gets clear once again. There's 6 laps to go. Coming to 5 laps to go for the race leaders. These guys got 5 as well. As long as they can make it to the end without hitting each other. They've done a phenomenal job of that for 151 laps already.
Look at the 45 setting it in the corner like grandma's business. And he still cannot find a way to get around the 93 of Matt Sisler. Broby's blood has to be boiling at this point as those Milwaukee tools are getting ready to unleash out of the toolbox, it seems. As now he backs it way off.
Oh, and he gets on the apron big time sideways. That might be it. It's going to be tough over the next 4 laps to try to chase down that 93 and make the pass that you haven't been able to make all day. Tell you what, though, Austin Collins finally gets around David Wright, but not after he cut another 6/10 out of the lead. It's now 1.6 seconds between first and second, but 3 laps to go for Austin Collins. 3 miles. It's going to be a real tough ask for TBB to gain a half a second every time around. Broby, however, when I said I thought it was over, he gained 3/10 that lap. It's 3/10 of a second is the gap right now. The 45 is definitely quicker than the 93. That 93 is just putting himself in all of the right places for him, all of the wrong places for Brandon Broby in the 45.
I don't think I've seen someone block successfully for this many laps and make it this entertaining like Matt Sisler in the 93. and
I mean,
going
that's-
up against him. And
He's
that
not
is
even
Brandon-
blocking, you know? He's just running
He's-
where the 45 wants to be. He's not letting the 45 use up all the racetrack he wants to, and Brandon
He's-
Barbie is struggling to get around him because of
Yeah.
it.
He's not blocking, but he's blocking. I guarantee you, if that 93 lifted and got out of the way, which I'm not telling him to do, that 45 would probably check out a dodge on him. But
Oh,
that
I would
is
assume
not-
so.
that
White flag
not
is out for
the case.
Austin Collins. He's been phenomenal all day. He sat on the pole. He's got half a lap to go, just 2 more corners. It's 2 seconds, the gap between him and Taylor Butcher Benjamin. But yet another phenomenal run. Matt, like you said, the switch to Toyota has done great for Austin Collins. He was successful in the DEI car, but this time around, he's winning for Toyota. Austin Collins takes the checkered flag. Taylor Butcher Benjamin gets second. David Wright third off of turn 4. Matt Sisler's going to hold on to 4th, and Brandon Barbie rounds out your top 5. Dave Acacia, the final driver who's going to be able to finish this race. Go ahead and get him some screen time as well, after we saw him with a phenomenal battle with Richard Springer earlier on in the race. Dave Acacia finishes 6th.
You know, that's the best point, you know, that you've made probably all broadcast long. And these guys, while they've been the few on the racetrack, these battles have been through the roof. I mean, you watched it there, the battle between Matt Sisler, Brandon Broby, Austin Collins, TRD, Toyota's marketing slogan, "Let's go places." Well, Austin Collins went to the front of the field and did not look back as he is whipping donuts at the start and finish line, getting it done in the Corolla. I love what you do for me, TRD. Austin Collins gets the dub here in the Valley of the Sun. But how
Fantastic
about
drive
that
there.
battle with Sisler and Broby? That was epic.
Go ahead and show you guys the results here. Well, Austin Collins finishes burning it down. Austin Collins with the W. Then Taylor Butcher Benjamin. David Wright, 1 lap down in 3rd place. Rounds out the podium. Then Matt Sisler, Brandon Barbie, Dave Acacia, Richard Springer, PJ O'Leary, and JP rounding out the field after a very, very tough break on lap number 2. Gonna go ahead and talk with our race winner, our pole sitter, our all-around dominator, Austin Collins. Austin, it's Liam and Matt up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I hear you. How's it going?
Doing fantastic, man. You put on a major butt whooping here today. We talked to you before the race. Now we get to talk to you after, bookend our day with you. First off, how were you able to continue on? I mean, you had amazing long run speed, but a 28:36 is blazing fast in my mind. I don't know how you pulled that off. What was under the hood?
A lot of throttle control. I said these things have enough horsepower as is, so when it comes down to, you know, a real hot track and it's, you know, everybody's already, you know, sliding with the horsepower and you got a hot track, it just comes down to being even smoother on the throttle and not letting it break out and driving as straight as you can. So that's all it came down to.
Taylor Butcher Benjamin was able to stay within about half a second for most of that first run, but in the second one, you were really able to kind of blow that open. How much tire saving was going on at the beginning of the runs, or were you just trying to get a bit of a gap so you could manage it?
Well, these cars, for whatever reason, they've been giving me a fit recently. I don't know, something about the tire model or something with these cars, just I'm not very good at it, and so I was trying something new tonight, and I think, like I said, it looked like it worked a little bit. So my plan is just drive it as hard as I can now, and I guess these things have so much horsepower that the rear tires get heated up anyway, so there's no point in saving them. So you know, if you got them, burn them.
Well, there you go. And quick, before we let you go, one last question, I guess. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, you guys had a bit of a chess battle before your last pit stop. It seemed like neither one of you guys wanted to blink. Were you just waiting for him to come in before you could cut off that undercut?
Yeah, biggest thing is I wanted to keep him from leading that lap so he didn't get that bonus point. So we only got a few races left in the championship here, and it's real close between me, him, and Thomas. I think Thomas technically is a little bit further ahead of both of us, but every point matters at this point, and so I was just waiting to see him come in because I know I can stay out in front of him, and at one lap pressure tires, usually, I should have the advantage there. So just making sure he didn't get that extra bonus point.
Big time point state for you, Austin. And like you said, Thomas, you might have a bit of a gap, but you didn't run today, so you guys will be able to close that down. Before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to for such a strong run on that TRD Toyota?
I got to thank JP for putting in the league, all the drivers that show up with us and race with us every week. They did a great job tonight. No cautions again. That's awesome. Especially with how loose it was here tonight. I got to thank all my teammates. I know PJ was there with me. He ended up having internet issues. He was running pretty well. Everyone that tuned into my stream, everyone that tuned into y'all's stream, y'all were put on the broadcast, obviously, and that's about it.
Well, awesome stuff, Austin. Congratulations on yet another win this year. Excellent momentum as we move into the next few weeks, trying to close down that championship lead. Fantastic drive, Austin. We'll talk to you next time.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
That was Austin Collins, your race winner. Now, we're going to go ahead and bring in TBB. Matt, you've got your favorite meat, man.
Gen 4.
That's right. You can't beat the meat. Got to beat the heat first. And Taylor Butcher Benjamin comes home in second with another blistering performance. That Budweiser born on date Chevrolet was fast here tonight as well. Once again, it seemed like he just didn't quite have enough there for the one of Austin Collins. Now you've had a second there to sit there and think about the race. Anything you could have done differently to bring that 8 home P1 instead of P2? Taylor, are you still with us? Taylor, Matt, and Leon up in the booth. You got us, sir. All right, it seems that we have lost.
And I'm not totally sure what happened there, but we can go ahead and bring in David Wright, our third place driver. David, it's Liam and Matt up at the booth. You got a copy? Hey, David Wright, it's Liam and Matt up in the SRM booth. You got a copy?
Yeah. Seems no one wants to talk with us here after the broadcast.
I just got a message from...
on the end of the broadcast.
It's all right. I just got a message from Taylor to tell us to give him another go. So we'll send David back. Try to bring Taylor in once again. Taylor, it's Liam and Matt up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, you got me now?
Yes, sir. Matt's
Yeah,
got
sorry
you.
about that little mic issue.
No problem at all, Matt. You got Taylor here?
Yeah, Taylor, I got you this time. Once again, that number 8 was fast in the field again here in prime time under the lights out in Phoenix, the Valley of the Sun. You were serving up some sizzled steaks once again, my friend. Only difference was that one car of Austin Collins out there on the racetrack. Now that you've had a chance to sit there and kind of digest the race, anything different that you could have done over the course of that 156 laps that would have bumped that 8 to P1 just outside of the win where you just came home in second?
Well, I know there was a couple of stints in that second stint where I was kind of messing up my line a little bit and let him get a little too far away, and then I just had to try to chase him back down. And the way this setup was, felt like we were on the Phoenix desert instead of the Phoenix racetrack. But
We're Baja out there.
yeah, absolutely. That's what it felt like the whole time. So, I was definitely giving it all we had. Just can only do so much when rear tires want to spin off the corner every single lap, and then even going down the backstretch through the dog leg, I had to kept pumping the accelerator to get it to not break loose on me. But yeah, I mean, good thing I have some experience here in the running the pickup cup rookie stuff, just to know my way around this track, because otherwise I might have been really in trouble tonight. But yeah, I'll take second place after tonight. Austin really was doing a really good job managing his gap, and of course when you put him out front, he's tough to catch no matter what. So
Well, I think you both, at times, including Thomas the Hammer as well. It seems like when one of you three get out front, I mean, it's just as tough for each one of you guys to go up there and capitalize. Once you yourself, Austin or Taylor, establishes, the P1 out there on the racetrack, you got yourself in the heck of a heated points battle right now. You're right there. You're in it for the win, for the championship, take all at the end of the season. What do you have to do in the upcoming weeks to secure that overall and critical championship?
well, the simple formula would just go and win all 3 races, but obviously is easier said than done. But I mean, I'm not want to have to wish any bad luck on anybody, but I might have to rely on Thomas not having very good finishes, but obviously it's a little wishful thinking. But yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to turn out with the points, but no matter what happens, it's been a really great year here. 4 wins so far, and could have been about 5 or 6 had some other things gone my way. But still definitely can't complain about this season at all.
No, you're right. You said it best. Multiple wins on the season, 4 and counting for Taylor Butcher Benjamin. You know he'd like to squeeze off a couple more here before we bring it all to an end in Miami just a few short weeks from now. Ladies and gentlemen, fast here once again from the Valley of the Sun. Comes home second. That is Taylor Butcher Benjamin, driver of the number 8 born on date Budweiser Chevrolet. Liam, back to you, sir.
Yes, sir. TBB joining us up in the booth after second place. We'll try once again with David Wright. See if we can get with David. David, you got a copy of it's Liam and Matt up at the booth.
Yes, I got you this time.
Well, that Pontiac, it looked damn good, but tell you what, those 2 in front of you, they were class of the field. Do you think you had anything for them, or was it just kind of lights out from the start?
No, I didn't have nothing for them, nothing at all. This was probably the hardest car set I've had to drive yet. It was really difficult. You could not put the throttle down at all. So it made it very difficult, and Taylor and Alton are just good drivers in general. So they figured it out for the rest of us, and I was just hanging on. I was just hanging on. That was all I could do.
We saw you have an amazing battle throughout the midpoint of the race with Matt Sisler and Brandon Burby. It seemed like you were able to get right up. You're kind of stuck between them for a little bit, defending for Burby and trying to figure out a way around Sisler. Sisler was a super tough guy to pass. What did it take to get that job done?
I don't know if it was I guess difference maybe in the lines we were running. I think he might have been burning his right rear off. I know Burby was in that first stint after he fell back quite a bit. So the only thing I can figure is their style and the line they were running was burning their right rear off a little worse than what I was running. That was the only thing I could tell. They were running higher in 3 and 4, and I was running more down towards the apron in 3 and 4. So other than that, that was the only thing I really saw. So just guessing that they burned the right rear off a little quicker.
You definitely had a blazing fast 42 machine. Not quite as quick as those top 2, but in a caution-free race, those gaps could definitely show up. But before we let you go, who do you want to thank, and who do you want to give a shout-out for that STP Pontiac Grand Prix being so fast today?
Well, I don't have nobody really to thank, but I always thank you guys in the booth, and I thank JP, the league owner, for putting the stuff on. He puts on the league, y'all put on the broadcast, which allows us to come down here and what I call play. So we get to play, y'all doing the work. So it's always greatly appreciated for what all y'all do behind the scenes to make all this stuff happen. So that's who I like to thank.
Awesome stuff, David. You definitely make work a lot of fun for us. It sure doesn't feel like work when we watch you Dynasty drivers get the job done, no matter where you go. But we appreciate you joining us up in here, David. Congratulations on a top 3 finish. We'll,
Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next time. Well, we heard from our podium drivers. We've gone through our finishing results. I think all we've got left here is for Matt to send us home.
Well, one funny thing that I did catch there in the mayhem with Discord following our first attempt on interviews was Matt Sizzler keying up on the radio and saying, well, someone had to make it exciting for the broadcast. And I thought that was kind of funny. I definitely got a chuckle out of that, as they didn't come home first, second, or third. But I think definitely an honorable mention needs to be shouted out there to the 45 of Brandon Broby and the 93 of Matt Sizzler for putting on one heck of a show here tonight. But ladies and gentlemen, once again, if you're new to SRM, make sure you reach up there, ring the bell, smash the subscribe button, help seed the algorithm, as that helps place more potential viewers in front of these drivers, just like you guys are, as we're quickly closing in on 3.5K subscribers here on SRM. We certainly cannot do it without your help. It's been fun here from the Valley of the Sun, but like all good things, everything must come to an end. You watched AC here, Austin Collins and Taylor Butcher Benjamin put on another DRL Classic. Next time, make sure you turn into the right place. Same SRM YouTube channel. Goodbye for now. Good night, everybody, and have a wonderful evening. This is Matt and Liam signing off from the broadcast booth right here on SRM.